Are you ready?
Are you ready for it?
I don't know if we're ready for this one.
Oh man, this one's going to be exciting.
Here
This
we
one's going to
go.
be fun. And it will probably not go the way you think it will.
It's true. Welcome back, guys.
This week's episode of Choosing Us. Coming at you.
It's going to be spicy.
It's going to be sexy.
Yeah.
So we have covered this topic in the past, but wanted to come from a different angle. No pun intended. And just take another stab at it.
I love it. It's a great topic. It's a fun one.
We're talking about
Sex.
sex in the relationship, sex in your marriage. Smack the microphone.
Nice.
Getting aggressive already. Holy cow. So this may be an episode that you don't want to have your chillins in the car with you, or you do.
Yeah. It's debatable, but it's all your choice.
And maybe your mom doesn't want to hear it, or maybe she does.
Yeah, probably not.
My mom would probably laugh.
Probably. Yeah, she'd probably watch about or listen to about the first 3 minutes and then be done.
We're not going to be graphic or vile.
No.
However, it is a very important topic and one that is taboo in most of modern Western society, especially here in Utah, and not discussed openly, honestly, and coherently.
I have some friends who are diving down this even more right now, and I love that it is being brought up more and talked about more, and talking about sexual energy, and especially in Utah, if you hear words like sex and pleasure and orgasm, what does it do in your body? How does your body respond? Is it a negative response or is it a positive response? Do you feel shame? Do you feel guilt? What do you associate with these words? And that will go into your relationship.
Absolutely. And how you view sex, how you view your purpose and your reason for it will come across in your relationship and will either make or break your relationship.
I love this topic right now because
sex is awesome.
Yes. And that right there is awesome because we are coming up on 10 years of marriage. And if you would have told me that 10 years into our marriage, it was going to be way better than the first 5 years of marriage with sex, I would have been like, will it? You would think it would get boring the more you're doing it. And hopefully in your relationship, it's a regular occurrence. After 10 years, you think it'd get a little boring. But what's so awesome is that 10 years into our relationship, that's our response. Sex is awesome. And it is so important in a relationship. And honestly, it's fun. You can make it fun. And especially as we've gotten to know each other and we know what each other likes and doesn't like, we can be silly and goofy and have fun. And some of my favorite times are really when we are laughing and being silly and
really dumb.
Yep.
Really dumb. And you're just laughing. Yes, I am laughing at you.
Yep.
Type laughing.
Yep.
And they're laughing at themselves, and we're laughing at each other, and we're laughing at ourselves. And it's just a great time that comes with open, honest communication. When you want to try something, do something within bounds that you've set as a partnership. But even if you're outside the bounds a little bit, having that conversation is important. So many times have we had an interaction with each other to where after the fact, it was one of those, man, I kind of wanted to do this. I kind of wanted to try that. And Michaela's response was, no way, me too. But the entire time while being together, that was just on my mind. And I was like, she probably doesn't want to do that. Probably not willing to do that. That's a little bit outside of the realm at the time of anything we had attempted or tried.
But how are you going to know? And how is your partner going to know if you don't actually communicate that? And that's hard, especially when you're nervous and it's something you maybe haven't tried before. You have to have that communication because maybe your partner feels the same way.
And then at the same time, if you want sex, but your partner doesn't, it is such a gift for the partner that does not want to still perform anyway, to be there anyway, to show up anyway. We don't always want to do things in life that our partner wants to do, but being there and supporting them, like our previous episode, and helping them along. For instance, in our relationship, Michaela's the physical one. I am not the physical one. That is not my love language. It's not my first love language, at least. It's down the line for me. But it is Michaela's number one. And so she is the sexual driver in our relationship, which is opposite of most relationships. Michaela finds stress release through sex. I don't. I don't sit and feel love and sex. When Michaela is stressed out and she needs an emotional release, she needs an energetic release, she needs an actual release, she needs an orgasm, or whatever it is, me showing up for her and helping her is so much more than just simply having sex. Because it is a large energy draw for me to show up when I am not in the mood. But on the token, I tell Michaela, so I'm not in the mood right now. However, give me a second to get there. Let me try to get there.
Now, this is the point to listen up, especially ladies out there who your husband is always asking for sex. They may be this way. This may be their stress release. This may be their way that they feel connected to you. Now, if they've had a really hard day and they come home and at the end of the day, they're asking you for sex and you're like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm exhausted. I don't want that. What if what they're really trying to say is, I want connection. I want to feel loved. I want to feel you. I want our souls to feel closer right now. But you just see it as, my husband wants sex again. I'm exhausted. I've had a hard day. You are throwing all these negative, unresourceful thoughts onto being intimate and being connected with your partner. And that's not going to go away in future instances. You are going to attach these negative, unresourceful thoughts in this moment to having sex with your partner. And that is huge. And you're not always going to be in the mood. And you're not always going to understand that sometimes your partner needs this more than you. And this may shock some people, but there are times at the end of the day when Brad and I both are like, you know what? Neither of us are in the mood. We are both absolutely exhausted. We could probably roll over and pass out right now. We are so tired, but I feel like our souls are not connected right now. I feel like our energy is really far apart and I want to be connected to you. Let's have sex. And it takes a minute to get there because guess what? Neither of us were in the mood. Or if it's been a few days and we're like, you know what? It's been a few days. Like neither of us are there, but let's try and get there together. And it takes a little bit longer. But we have never come out on the other side saying, oh, that wasn't worth it. We always come out on the other side saying, yeah, I feel better. Yeah, I feel more connected to you. That was worth it.
And it really builds on the relationship. Going back a minute or two on if you always look at your partner as somebody that's always asking for sex, that slowly over time will build resentment. That will become a cancer. That will be a sliver that becomes infected. And then at some point, you'll have to cut off the arm because you have gangrene.
Wow.
Took that all the way there.
All the way.
But it's true. That is the thorn in your foot that will bury itself, that you need to resolve. If you're always thinking that your spouse is always wanting that, maybe you should find the root cause and why. There's a reason. What's the reason? And it's not going to be the surface level answer of, oh, I just like sex. I'm a sexual being. Why? To what end? To what purpose? There's a reason.
A lot of times it's because they feel distant. They don't, you guys have been busy all day long, or you haven't seen each other very much. A lot of times it's to feel connected, to feel loved, to feel important. It is that connection that most people don't realize. There is a very powerful sexual energy that happens when you go into sex with the purpose of connecting your souls. When that is the purpose, when it is not focused on selfish desires, on I just want to release, where this is about me, or this is about just let's just do it and get it over with. It's not about that. It is when you go into it with a specific purpose of I want to get closer to you. I want us to have a beautiful experience together where we're both bonding. We are both there. That is something magical that most people don't ever experience.
There's a large transition when you go from selfish desire, I want to have an orgasm, and you transition to I want to be there for them. There's a big transition when you go from that point to I am here for you. I want you to release. I want you to have an orgasm. I want you to feel loved. I want you to feel connected. I want you to feel bonded. And then there's an even greater level where you go for the sole purpose of alignment. You go for the sole purpose of showing up for each other, for yourself, for your partner, for each other. And there is no point of release. There's no point of an orgasm at the end. Does it happen? Maybe, maybe not. That's not the point, though. And the point is to create this energy, to create this beautiful experience that, for those that have experienced it, is otherworldly. Sex and the making, procreation in general, is something that we do not understand as humans. We do not understand. And yeah, doctors say, oh, the sperm hits the egg and then the baby's born. We just barely learned that a spark happens when that happens. We just learned that like a year ago, that a physical, literal spark takes place. So the whole let there be light thing reigns a little bit more on that. We don't know how a little cell enters another cell and then all of a sudden fingernails are made, eyeballs are made, hair is made. All these different types of proteins and minerals and everything is just taken and organized into a human. That is one aspect that we retain from our godly ancestry. That's it. That's the last part of it. That's the only thing we have remaining. And the fastest way to tear apart a family is through sex. The fastest way to prevent a family is through sex. The most powerful thing in the world is also Satan's greatest tool. And it's so important to understand it as best as you can. And you know that from communication. You know that from trial and experience and experimentation with each other. And we're not here to tell you what you can and can't do. That's the rules and the bounds that you set within your partnership. But also don't be afraid to question the boundaries. Question the rules and the laws that you created in your partnership. There are things that we do now that if somebody told me 10 years ago that one day you'll be doing this, I'm like, no, I won't. But here we are 10 years later. And we have met people that have just done missionary for 15 years.
I don't know how.
That's all they did. And it blows my mind.
It does. Yep.
Or it doesn't blow my mind. There's no blowing.
Yep. But I think this is a topic that a lot of people avoid, but it needs to be talked about. There are so many divorces right now. Why are there so many divorces? And a lot of it comes down to communication, not supporting your partner the way that they need it, and sex. Sex is huge. You should be having sex with your partner on a regular basis. I don't care. I'm going to be very blunt. I don't care if you're not in the mood. I promise you, you'll get there. But that goes back to selfish desires. The sex should not just be about the release. As we've been saying, it is about connecting. The closer you are on a daily, regular basis with your partner, the harder it is to fall apart. If you are so close to each other because sex is the closest you are going to get to your partner, when you are really in it for each other, to connect, to bond, to have a beautiful experience together, when you do that on a regular basis, your souls are intertwined, which means when you go out into the world has less effect on you. All of the social media, the porn, all of the other things that the world is trying to bring into families to tear families apart, it is a lot harder to do when you are intertwined with your partner, because you are strong, you are connected, and it's really cool. And I love that 10 years into it, we are more connected than we've ever been. And honestly, I can say there's really nothing that would ever tear us apart, because we make the conscious effort and we choose on a regular daily basis to stay connected, to stay intertwined, so that the world can't enter.
It's so important. There's a theory in physics called entanglement theory. It can't be proven, therefore it will never become a law. But it is a very, very strong theory that atoms will be entangled with one another. If one spins one way, its partner will spin the same way. It will mirror and match its partner. Electrons to electrons, protons to protons, neutrons to neutrons. And it doesn't matter space or time. Across galaxies, across worlds, across generations, it doesn't matter. One thing that sex has the ability to do is to allow entanglement to take place. You can literally feel your partner no matter the distance, no matter the time, no matter the gap. You can still feel your partner because you're entangled, you're entwined. You are bound together when you go at this with the right mindset, with the right intention, and the right purpose. It is amazing what happens when you change the dynamic, challenge the status quo, come together more, not less. I once heard from a religious leader who was also a marriage counselor The first question he asks a couple that is struggling was, when's the last time you had sex? And without fail, it was a large period of time or a long period of time. And then he'd always follow up with that answer with, cool, go home, have sex, come back tomorrow. We'll talk after you have sex. It is that important. And I took that same question, and over the years, I have had hundreds of conversations with hundreds of couples that have struggled. And my first question is, when was the last time you have sex and how frequently do you do it? And without fail, it has always been it's been a little longer than probably should. We don't have it that often. Sometimes we're once or twice a week.
Or
on
once
a good
or
week.
twice a month.
Say on a good week. Or I haven't had sex in a month. We've met people that say I haven't had sex over a year. And I sit there and say, how in the world? You guys are literally just roommates. And sometimes we've known people to go over a year and they don't even sleep in the same room. Odd. If you honestly think your marriage will survive that, it will not. The animalistic nature still has needs. And any animal, when locked in a cage, will become animalistic.
Yeah. I want to touch again on, I'm thinking of like a few women that I have talked to, going back to they're not in the mood. That there's triggers maybe or trauma, and they get very closed off when they're not in the mood. That sometimes they'll feel like it's being forced on them. Or when they're like, oh, okay, I'll do it even if I'm not in the mood just because he wants it. But then you feel like it's being forced. The one thing I want those women to think about, going back to the unresourceful thoughts, that how many times do you put negative, unresourceful thoughts onto sex, and then down the road, you're still not in the mood? I want you to think about if you have ever put those negative, unresourceful thoughts onto sex. Think about that. Because if you have, that's what has to be resolved. It's not that you're not in love with your partner. It's not that you're just exhausted. There should be some kind of physical connection there. And sometimes it takes a little bit to bring it back. If you've lost your spark, if you've lost that light, sometimes it's not going to be just immediate. It's going to take time. But I promise as you continue to put in the effort, to be present, to be there, and maybe change your mindset around sex, that it's not about the release. It's not about, oh, he needs this. That it's about, you know what? I want to connect with my partner. I want to feel closer to my partner. And this is what it looks like. And viewing it that way instead of just another to-do list to check off.
And then my final thought was, change it up. If you normally have sex at night, have it in the morning. If you normally have sex in the morning, have it at night. If you normally have it when it's dark outside, have it midday. Change up the time frame. Change up the location. Change up how you do what you do. And you will find spontaneity. You'll find a rejuvenated passion that you once had that can come back. You must understand that that which was once part of a whole and has fallen apart can be made back whole and new again. But that comes with intention. That comes with purpose. That's what I got.
I love it.
Go have this conversation with your partner. And if you have a sexual partner, go have sex.
Yes, do it.
And share this episode for those people that you feel that need it. We recognize that this will not be for everybody, and that's okay. But those that need it, that's why we're saying it. But you can find me on the socials, Mr. Brad Draper.
And Draper choosing us.
Like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. We love you guys. Bye.